As we are looking at today, lesson 5.5 is about the law of sines. Now at the top, they kind of break down what the law of sines is. Basically, it's saying that the ratio of an angle across from the side is equal to any other angle, and then the side across and angle and side across pair. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to practice some of this. I think that you're going to find that as long as you can identify an angle and a side across, that you are going to actually find that this is a fairly easy lesson. So notice the directions for our question here for 1 and 2. It says solve each triangle, round your answer to the nearest 10. What that means is it's basically asking you to find out any missing information that you can. So first off, let's go ahead and find the measure of angle A. So you've got 41 and 113. We know that the angles of a triangle have to add up to be 180. So we're just going to add those two and subtract from 180. So we're going back into our geometry knowledge to get that 26 degrees down here. Now, what we can do is using the law of sines, we can set up our ratios now. So 41 is across from this 15. So what I can do is I can say, all right, the sine of that angle, 41 degrees, is over 15 is equal to, and I can take either angle, it doesn't matter. So if I do 113, it's going to be the sine of 113 over C. And here's the thing, make sure your calculator is in degrees. And what you're going to do at this point is just cross multiply. So you do 15 times sine of 113 equals C times the sine of 41. So once you type in this, you just divide by the sine of 41 to get a value for C. And I'm just going to write this over here in the corner. C is approximately 21. And then you're going to do the same thing for your other angle pair. So take a second and try to figure out what your measure of A, this side length right here, what is the measure of A going to be? Hopefully once you found it, you found that your A is approximately 10 units, okay? So now, when you look at number two is similar. It just doesn't have a picture, which is totally fine. The very first thing I want you to notice is we have two angles given to us. So that tells us the measure of angle A is going to be 180 minus those two angles, which is 19 degrees. And then we can go ahead and set up our ratios. So you've got sine of 19 degrees. So the A across from the A is 23 equals, and then your sine, we'll do the B part next. It doesn't have to be in this order, but I'm going to do it in order. And then I'm actually going to go ahead and set up the other part as well, the sine of 26 over C. And so what you can do is you can cross multiply to find your B. And once you do so, you should get a B value of approximately 50. And then I can use this part and this part to find my C value. And once I cross multiply, I get a C value of 31. And I'm going to actually let you guys ask any questions that you have about just that part first in our ed puzzle, because this part is the basics. If you have the basics, the rest of it just kind of builds on that. So take a second, ask any questions you need. And let's go ahead and go to the applications. So now we have to draw a picture. So a post is supported by two wires, one on each side going in opposite directions. So let's go ahead and draw. We got a post, we got a wire going this way, a wire going this way, we got the ground coming this way. Then it says creating an angle of 80 degrees between the wires. So my picture is not drawn to scale, but that's okay. So this is 80 degrees between the two wires. The ends of the wires are 12 meters apart on the ground, with one wire forming an angle of 40 degrees with the ground. Okay, so what that tells us is wire to wire is 12 meters. It says one of the wires forms an angle of 40 degrees with the ground. It doesn't matter which one you pick. So now, if we look at the big triangle, so not one of the little ones, but if we look at this big one, we can figure out the other angle in the lower left-hand corner to be 60. Now it says find the length of the wire. So we don't know this length, and we don't know this length. So what we can do is now we can go ahead and use our log sines to set up our equation. So we've got the 80 degrees and 12 degrees, or 12 meters, opposite each other. So sine of 80 degrees over 12 equals, and then I can do the 40 degrees, and the part that's opposite that is the y. And I can cross multiply, and when I do so, I'm going to get one value. And then when I go ahead and do the same thing, I have sine of 80 over 12 equals, and then instead of sine of 40, I have sine of 60, and then over x. So take a second, figure out those two values. It doesn't matter if you label one x and y or the other vice versa, but figure out what are those two lengths going to be, and I'm going to give you some feedback again within your ed puzzle. For number 2, 3 friends are camping in the woods, Bert, Ernie, and Elmo. They each have their own tent, and the tents are set up in a triangle. Bert and Ernie are 10 meters apart. The angle formed at Bert is 30 degrees. The angle formed at Elmo is 105. How far apart are Ernie and Elmo? So first off, it doesn't really matter what your picture looks like as long as you make sure you drew your labels in correctly. So you have Bert, Elmo, and Ernie. And so you've got the triangle going on here, and let's label what it tells us. So they have Bert and Ernie are 10 meters apart, so Bert and Ernie, 10 meters. We have the angle formed at Bert is 30 degrees. The angle formed at Elmo is 105. So clearly my picture is not drawn to scale. That's fine. How far apart are Ernie and Elmo? So they're trying to figure out that length right there. So again, my 105 is across from the 10, so sine 105 over 10 equals, the 30 is across from the x, so sine 30 over x, cross multiply, and you get a value of approximately 5.2, and your units for this would be meters. Okay. Now, if you're having problems with the cross multiply step, please just ask. It's not going to take us long to figure that out, but please make sure you take a second to do so. Okay, so this one, two scuba divers are 20 meters apart below the surface of the water. They both spot a shark that's below them. So to start off, we've got scuba diver A, scuba diver B. This part is 20 meters. They both spot a shark. This is my shark. That's even better for me. You got the shark. Okay? He's got that little fin there. And here's the deal. Boom, boom. It says that the angle of depression from diver 1 to shark is 47 degrees. So this is diver 1, 47 degrees is our angle of depression. From diver 2, the shark is, the angle of depression is 40 degrees. We're trying to figure out how far apart each of the divers are from the shark. So what we're looking at, first off, we can figure out this angle measured here by subtracting from 180 to get 93 degrees. And now I have an angle and the side opposite. So I have sine of 93 degrees over 20 equals, and I can go ahead and do 47, and so I get sine of 47 over x, or whatever variable you choose. And when I solve for that, I get 14.6 meters. So this is 14.6 here. And then take a second, again, in the ed puzzle, figure out what is that length from diver 1 to the shark going to be. Now, guys, hopefully that all made sense. I know I did some of it fairly quickly. I'm hoping the cross multiply step is a fairly easy step for you. But again, if it's not, please indicate that either having a conversation with me or even in this ed puzzle so that way I can get you the help that maybe you need. All right? That's all. Thanks, guys. Have a great one.